Air fryers really took off in the domestic media before Christmas last year. It seemed as though it was something very new, but these ovens have been with us for years. Practical, economical structures that can also be used to make healthy foods, just like with my test subject today. The name Chefree AFW01 is interesting, since it's created from the words CEF and free, which in Hungarian means free or unrestricted. I would rather vote for unrestricted than free, because it somehow better expresses the simplicity and unrestrictedness of cooking. The Chefree AFW01, an air fryer or oil-free fryer by another name, in essence, it works like a traditional fryer. You put the food in and it gets fried in it. The big difference, of course, is that in this, the oil isn't sizzling and doesn't stink the apartment. Instead of oil, it contains hot air, which in this 150-100 watt oven can be a maximum of 200 degrees. Afin circulates the hot air rotating around the food placed in there. The basket is naturally shaped so that the air can best circulate around the food to be fried. The Chefree AFW01 is not a special oven, it just has 3 unique features compared to the usual ones. Compared to this, there is a window at the front where you can see the food inside. This is straight and because you don't have to open the oven during baking, so you don't lose heat, the baking doesn't stop, saving time and energy. The other interesting thing is that due to the shape of the oven, the basket is not square, but rather elongated, rectangular. This matters when you want to bake a baguette, for example, because a slightly longer one won't fit into a traditional basket. Sure, even 2 or 3 pieces can fit next to each other. The third interesting thing is that the manufacturer provides an extra grill for the basket. This grill is used to reduce when baking sliced meats. Not 1, 2, but 4, 6 slices can be baked at once, 4 slices can go on the rack and 2 under the rack into the basket. There are no other specials. The Chefree AFW01 is not smart and does not have Bluetooth, and there is no phone application for it either. The manufacturer does not provide a recipe book either. It hurts a bit that there are quite few pre-programmed baking modes. True, this is not a life-threatening thing, because with frozen foods, the packaging always shows how long and at what temperature to bake. If you're cooking something like a roast chicken at home, you'll quickly find out how long you need to cook it and what temperature it would be advisable to bake at. Many people despise these ovens because, as they say, you can't bake as delicious things in them as in oil. Well, I think they are wrong. One thing they're definitely right about is that the meats won't taste or smell of oil. Instead, they retain the characteristic aroma and flavor of the meat. Many people think that with these ovens you can't get a crispy skin on the chicken, you can't get a nice coating on the fried meat, and you can't make delicious traditional oven fried potatoes. It is indeed possible. The trick to this is that there are foods that require fat for frying. A lot of people use oil spray, but I don't spend money on that. No need for any magic, just a brush and a little bit of cooking oil. Finally, you easily brush the meat with the oil and the meat is ready. You add just a little oil to the breading for the fried meat and done. Shake the potato with minimal oil in a nylon bag for the distressed potato and it's done. So there really isn't a lot of greasiness, but a tiny bit of fat will sometimes be needed. There is so little fat that you won't even smell it while cooking. Of course, I tested this oven too. I really love these tests because I can combine the pleasant with the useful or the oven, but I can indulge a little in my passion for delicious food. For the test, I roasted a whole chicken. I didn't use any spices, just brushed it with a little oil, sprinkled some salt and put it in the oven. When it was well roasted, I turned it over and cooked it a bit more on its back so the skin would be crispy. Here I point out that it's easier to roast a whole chicken than in square racks because the chicken is a bit elongated. So I didn't have to squeeze it in, the meat didn't touch the basket wall anywhere. I baked a little roast potato on the side. This was store-bought, so no oil was needed for it. I don't think this needs explaining, but one thing to bear in mind is that during baking it's a good idea to shake it 2 or 3 times so that everything gets evenly cooked. Lastly, after lunch I baked a little poppy seed snail. There was no magic, the recommended temperature and the recommended baking test are on the package. You just need to pay attention to put it in the preheated oven, so it's worth the little convection indoors. Leave it for a few more minutes because you don't put it in while the oven is already hot. And that's about the story. Of course, there's a ton of other stuff you can cook in these convection ovens. What you just saw was really just a small taster. I was barely scraping the top of the possibilities. This oven isn't the cheapest, but it isn't too expensive either. We rate the smart versions a bit more and the simpler, dumber ones a bit cheaper. The Chefree AFW01 manifests its strength in the window, the more utilizable form of the frying basket, in my opinion, and the grate it comes with. Such a grate alone would cost about 1,500–2,000 forints, so all in all, the purchase price available with the coupon at this oven, according to me, is around 30,000 forints. It's appropriate. Well, I have finished roasting now. I will be back with another test next week. Peace be with you until then.